U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has visited Vietnam, aiming to strengthen defense ties and reaffirm cooperation 50 years after the Vietnam War and 30 years of diplomatic relations. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has announced that Washington and Beijing will establish direct military communication channels. Hegseth has made these remarks after meeting Admiral Dong Jun and urged ASEAN nations to strengthen maritime defenses against China's destabilizing actions in the South China Sea. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has announced that China's Premier Li Qiang will visit Australia in 2026, with a possible stop at the iconic Uluru to promote cultural and tourism ties. The announcement follows their ASEAN meeting in Malaysia. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has visited the 11th Corps of the country's military, and he has announced that the ruling party would discuss new measures to strengthen North Korea's military capabilities, according to local media reports. Pakistan has issued a naval alert for live fire exercises between November 2nd to 5th near the disputed Sir Creek region, coinciding with India's large-scale Trishul tri-service war games. Nearly 300 people have been killed in political violence in Bangladesh since the fall of former leader Sheikh Hasina in August 2024, according to rights group Odikar. The report warns that despite Hasina's ouster, police abuses, extortion, and mob attacks continue under the interim government. Nexperia's China unit has said that it has sufficient inventories and a secure supply chain after its Dutch parent company suspended buffer supplies on October 26, citing unpaid contractual terms. The Chinese division has condemned the move as unilateral and deceptive, asserting its independence following Dutch government control of Nexperia. Hamas has denied U.S. accusations that it looted aid in Gaza, calling the claims false and unfounded. The terror group has described the allegations as part of a deliberate disinformation campaign aimed at undermining its credibility. Pakistan has issued a naval navigational warning for a live firing exercise in the same area where India is conducting exercise Trishul, its major tri-service drill near the Sir Creek region. The move comes days after Islamabad restricted air routes through a NOTAM, mirroring India's own airspace reservation for the ongoing exercise. Defense watchers see this as calibrated military signaling between the two neighbors. India's exercise Trishul, underway from October 30th to November 10th, brings together the Army, Navy, and Air Force for joint operations across land, air, and sea. Analysts say both nations are asserting readiness without direct confrontation, but warn that overlapping activities near the border raises risks of miscalculation. Now for this discussion, we welcome retired Major General Dr. Rajan Kochhar. He's a senior strategic and defense expert, joins us live from New Delhi. Thank you very much, Major General Rajan Kochhar, for joining us on this topic. What role does this disputed Sir Creek region play in between bordering India and Pakistan maritime rivalry, and how do Pakistan's naval alerts near this creek affect regional stability between these two neighbors?
Thank you, Osima. Very interesting discussion right in the evening today.
Yes.
We have witnessed a new front opening now, because so far Sir Creek was a front which was not activated by either of the countries. The provocation started from the Pakistani side a couple of months back, when 4 to 5 regular battalions, almost a brigade minus strength, came up and deployed itself on their side of the border, that is Sindh and Pakistan, replacing the Rangers battalion, which is the paramilitary force. Then According to intelligence reports, we came to know that certain radars of Chinese origin and surveillance devices, including drones, started operating in this area. So this became a cause of concern because, first of all, it's a disputed territory, 96 kilometers, and it's a marshy land. It's an estuary where the river water actually gets into the sea water, and claims, counter-claims, we have a 1968 international tribunal which was also set up but could not resolve this dispute. And as per the Thalweg principle, which is applied in all maritime disputes, the boundary is to be taken as part of the center line between the two countries, borders like Sindh and the Run of Kutch. But Pakistan does not follow this. It quotes a 1914 British era map, which is not relevant in this case. So now we come to the excise proper. Uh, India announced this excise first, Trishul, 30th October to 10th of November, 12-day excise. We issued the notum, and then the Pakistan also responded. So this is the first time we are seeing a proactive strategy by India and a reactive strategy by Pakistan. Second important aspect is due to the disputes, there will be overlapping. Certain areas will be overlapping, and Pakistan has announced that they would be carrying out live firing in these areas. So when we have these kind of things, communication and actually becomes very important, and monitoring becomes very important between the two countries, because any small incident can trigger a war also. Once upon a time, a couple of years back, a Pakistani plane was
Yes.
also shot in this area by the India's MiG-21 aircraft, and at that point of time, the issue also had escalated, short of
Yes.
war. So now,
Yes.
seeing the tempers on both sides, I think this will be a very, very dangerous kind of situation
Yes.
where the overlapping is taking place.
Oh,
And any small incident which happens here, it can actually result into a major incident. So, yeah, I would like to stress upon that both the countries have to keep the channel of communication open. They have to monitor each other's activities to see that you are not crossing the line of each other. And then I think it would be a slightly more conducive environment to do this exercise.
yes.
And my last point is on India's part. India is telling Pakistan that we are ready, because Pakistan has been reinforcing itself in Sir Creek area. So it is a message to Pakistan, and it's a strategic signaling to Pakistan that our Army, Air Force and Navy, all the three forces are ready here, and we are exercising, and we are ready to take on any kind of a challenge or a misadventure by Pakistan.
Yes. And Major General, as you've mentioned uh, the timing, and particularly how this timing is playing over this and the past 6 months and how it started. How does this Trishul in particular help strengthen India's joint operability and deterrence capability along the Western Front?
A very good question. You see, what happens in exercises that all our operational plans get exercised and synergized between the Army, Air Force and Navy, the air, land and the sea battle, because the battle here is going to be an air, land and sea battle in which amphibious forces are going to be employed, and also armor and mechanized columns are going to be exercised in this area, because this is not restricted to Sir Creek only. It extends on to the Gujarat border as well as parts of Rajasthan border. So this area is a fairly extended area where the exercises are taking place, and it is basically a test of our maritime, our amphibious, our air as well as the land capabilities, especially the synergy which has to be part of the operational planning, in which the Army, Air Force and Navy should know that as per the operational plans, what is expected from each other. A second important aspect is it's a strong deterrence signal to Pakistan, because when you see such large forces, the entire command of the Indian Army is exercising here, and a sizable number of troops and formations are going to be here, so it sends a strong deterrence signal to Pakistan that in case of any kind of a misadventure,
Yes.
a suitable reply will be given to them. And the last important point is that all the new concepts which have actually emerged after the Ukraine war, after the other West Asia experiences, we are incorporating technology into our forces, the artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and this meshing of technology with our weapon platforms is also done during this exercise. So we are
Yes.
going to see things like the
Major General Dr. Rajan Kochar, thank you very much for sharing that insight. Unfortunately, we are running out of time for that discussion, but please stay with us as we come back to you. Now, we stay in the region. A prominent human rights group in Bangladesh has issued a report highlighting political violence in the country following the removal of Sheikh Hasina from power in 2024. The group has reported that nearly 300 people have been killed in political violence since student-led protesters toppled the Hasina's government. It is stated that the majority of the deaths resulted from violence related to political parties and extrajudicial killings, while some victims were lynched. The director of the rights group, Odikar, has stated that the condition of human rights in the country has improved, insinuating the rule of Sheikh Hasina as autocratic, where the former prime minister was accused of using violence to maintain power. However, the director also stated that under the current dispensation's law, enforcement agencies are not being held accountable. Bangladesh is set to hold elections early next year, and a stable law and order situation is crucial to restore democracy in the country, which has been administered by Chief Advisor Muhammad Yunus since Sheikh Hasina's withdrawal. Now we welcome back retired Major General Dr. Rajan Kochar. He's joining us as Senior Strategic and Defense Expert from New Delhi. Thank you very much, Major General Doctor, for staying with us. Now, looking at this news, how might ongoing unrest impact the credibility of the upcoming elections, and can the current administration, do you think they are able to balance improving human rights conditions while maintaining political order in Bangladesh?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good question. This is a very disturbing report. If something was happening in Sheikh Hasina's time, it doesn't mean that it should continue to happen now. And if it is happening now, it speaks poorly of the newly formed interim government which is in power today of Muhammad Yunus, because he has not been able to check the law and order situation in his own country, in spite of promising to bring a change in Bangladesh. And if more than almost 281 or 300 people have been killed, and mob lynching is actually 153, which is a sizable number, it shows that there is this trend of political killing still going on. And when the elections are going to be held in February 2026, there is a good chance that all those people who are the political opponents of the government will get targeted in this mob violence or these uh, a law and order situation as it is actually developing in Bangladesh today. And one important aspect which is actually emerging is the ineffective of the police force. We are aware that police has been politicalized in Bangladesh because most of the appointments in Bangladesh are in police department are controlled or are managed, by the government in power. When Sheikh Hasina was there, she made all those political appointments in the police force. So those sizable number of the police force were owing uh, allegiance to her. And now with the Muhammad Yunus coming in, so police is trying to uh, distance itself at times from all these killings which are taking place and is not actually ensuring an effective mechanism is in place for maintaining law and order. And we also heard the army chief, Wakar Zaman, who made a mention that army cannot be employed for policing duties for long. And uh, he was telling Mohammad Yunus in his meeting a couple of months back that he would like the army to be back into barracks. So if that is the case, and this human rights group was established in 1994, Odhikar is a very prominent group of Bangladesh human rights organization. Activists are there in this organization. So it is a fairly accurate report, and it is an indiction or an indication of the present government's claims that everything is stable in Bangladesh. So I think it's the stability is not there, and I am apprehensive that the forthcoming elections may not be free and fair.
Right. With that, I would like to thank a retired Major General Dr. Rajan Kochar for joining us and staying with us and sharing with us throughout our news. Thank you very much. Now we move on to our next news. The United States and China have agreed to set up new military communication channels to prevent any misunderstandings from escalating into conflict in the Indo-Pacific. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has announced the move after talks with his Chinese counterpart, Admiral Dong Jun, on the sideline of the ASEAN Defense Ministers meeting in Malaysia. Hegseth has said that both sides will create military-to-military deconfliction systems to ensure peace and stability. He has added that U.S.-China ties have never been better, crediting President Trump's meeting with Xi Jinping in Seoul for setting a tone of everlasting peace. The talks mark a significant thaw after Beijing suspended defense dialogues in 2022 following Nancy Pelosi's Taiwan visit. Analysts say that this new step could reduce tensions over Taiwan and the South China Sea, where confrontations have been frequent. The United States and China have agreed to set up new military communication channels to prevent any misunderstandings from escalating into conflict in the Indo-Pacific. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has announced the move after talks with his Chinese counterpart, Admiral Dong Jun, on the sidelines of the ASEAN Defense Ministers meeting in Malaysia. Hegseth has said that both sides will create military-to-military deconfliction systems to ensure peace and stability. He has added that U.S.-China ties have never been better, crediting President Trump's meeting with Xi Jinping in Seoul for setting a tone for everlasting peace. The talks mark a significant thaw after Beijing suspended defense dialogues in 2022 following Nancy Pelosi's Taiwan visit. Analysts say this step could reduce tensions over Taiwan and the South China Sea, where confrontations have been frequent. Now for this discussion, we welcome Keith Vaz. He's a former UK British minister, joins us live from Goa. Thank you very much, Keith, for joining us. I see you're in India today, so you're joining from India. Welcome to India, I must say. Looking at this news, how do you think, how effective are these deconfliction channels and the statements coming in from US's statement coming in from U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. While on the same talks, he criticized China's actions in South China Sea. What do you think was the motive behind him talking about how great their relationship is with China, while also criticizing their military actions in South China Sea?
Well, it's typical of the Trump administration. It's one hand is very critical, the other hand is giving. And I think we welcome this statement. I think it's very important that America and China get along, and any deal that de-escalates the military offer by both countries is to be welcomed. Of course, as we know with Donald Trump, he will use tariffs as a bargaining counter against China, but that's why he's such a great deal maker. He knows exactly how to push the right buttons in order to get people to be concerned about their position. So I think Pete Hegseth's statement is welcome. Any de-escalation is welcome, though we will see whether this applies to any possible escalation of the issue with Taiwan, who must be concerned by any deals that are done in this direction.
Do you think could this agreement signal a broader thaw in U.S.-China relations beyond military communications?
Well, I think that this goes round back to what the purpose of President Trump's visit was to the ASEAN conference, which is to show that he is the master of the world. And of course, there's only one bigger country in terms of economic power that's anywhere, so not bigger, but anywhere near the Americans, and that is China, because China has so much American debt. So you can't really threaten China in the same way as you can threaten another country, simply because they hold so much debt. So I think Trump's language is always about, it was a great deal, it was a great meeting, we've done a great, there's been great progress. And I think those kinds of words are welcome. We want to see peacemakers rather than international statesmen creating more tension. We don't want more tension in the world. It's already tense. And if he does it in this particular Trumpian way, which is we'll slap them with tariffs, but we'll reduce our military force, we have to welcome it. That's how a deal is made, as we know. So I think that we should accept it and we should see how it goes. But, you know, this is the 24/7 news cycle. Anything can change tomorrow. He is on record, though, as saying that he does admire the president of China, that he thinks he's a tough negotiator, and therefore I would take his words as they are meant.
Yes, indeed, we do not need more tensions over here. Thank you very much, Keith Vaz, for always joining us and sharing that insight as a former British minister. Now we move on back to Asia. Officials have confirmed a deadly explosion at the Counter-Terrorism Department police station in Peshawar, Pakistan. It has killed one officer and injured two others. Peshawar, a capital city police officer, Dr. Mian Saeed Ahmed, has said that a preliminary assessment indicates the blast was caused by old explosive material stored in the station's ammunition room. The ensuing fire had spread to other explosive, triggering additional detonations. Police and security forces have cordoned off the area while the bomb disposal unit, rescue teams and fire brigade work to secure the site. Authorities have emphasized that the incident does not appear to be a terrorist attack. A special investigation team from the CTD is reviewing CCTV footage and recording statements from personnel present during the explosion. Part of the building, including the basement, collapsed as a result of this blast. The officer who died was identified as Bilal Khan. His funeral prayers were held with honors at Malik Saad Shahid Police Lines, attended by KP Governor Faisal Karim Kundi and Inspector General Zulfikar Hamid, CCPO Ahmed, and other officials. Now for this discussion, we welcome Ajay Jandial, correspondent, joins us live from Jammu. Thank you very much, Ajay, for joining us. Welcome to News World. Ajay, what more can you tell us about this news? And is this a normal thing that old ammunitions are left unchecked in storage rooms like this?
See, it seems that that there is something fishy, because if you see that series of incident which has taken place in Pakistan, whether it was Peshawar, whether it is Balochistan or Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, that indicates that something something is bad going on in Pakistan. That is what our sources are saying. And if you talk about this particular incident in Peshawar, where one SHO, who lost his life, one police officer who lost his life, and two other they are injured. It seems that some explosive was inside the police station where this explosion took place. And especially, we have to remember that this officer who have died in this incident, he is a counter-terrorism specialist. So it seems that there must be some explosive inside a police officer, whether it was a planted ID or something, which was unattended, lying over there. That has to be, investigated by the authorities over there. But police initially says that it was a accidental, explosion which took place, and that took life of one officer and injured two others. Investigation has been launched, and two those who were injured in this incident, they have been shifted to the hospital where treatment is going on. And definitely, authorities, they are investigating the matter, and they are questioning the injured as well as the people, those who were present at that time as well. And right after this explosion took place, it has shaken the nearby area, and the locals, those who reside over there, they rushed to the spot to see that what exactly has happened. And one of room where this explosion took place, that is totally collapsed, and definitely it was a horrible time for the locals and the people, those who were inside that building.
Yes, indeed. With that, I would like to thank Ajay Jandial for joining us as Jammu Bureau Chief and joining us from Jammu. Thank you very much. Now we move on to Philippines. The Philippines has signed a visiting forces agreement with Canada, its first such deal in the region, allowing Canadian troops to join joint exercises on land and at sea. The pact, signed in Manila on November 2nd, brings Canada in line with earlier agreements which Philippines has with US, Japan, Australia, and New Zealand. Canadian Defense Minister David McGuinty has stated that the deal will advance Ottawa's Asia-Pacific strategy through training, information sharing, and cybersecurity cooperation. Philippines Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro has stated that it would help preserve the rules-based order in the Indo-Pacific as Manila deepens security ties amid China's growing assertiveness in the South China Sea. This is what both the leaders have stated.
Underpinning this so far is the foundation on which it is built. It is to preserve the international order as a rules-based international order, respecting the sovereignty and dignity of not only states, but also of its people as human beings with the rights and the freedoms that they enjoy.
Last year, we signed a Defense Cooperation Memorandum of Understanding, a milestone that laid the foundation for deeper collaboration between our militaries. The agreement we signed today builds on that very progress, but it also reflects a deeper truth. That peace is built on rules, not recklessness, and that stability grows from cooperation, not confrontation.
Now we move on to India. The Indian Space Research Organization has been preparing to launch its heaviest satellite from Indian soil, the 4,410 kilograms multi-band communication satellite CMS-3. The satellite will be carried into a geosynchronous transfer orbit aboard the LVM-3M5 rocket, nicknamed Bahubali, for its heavy lift capability. The 43.5 meter tall rocket has been fully assembled, integrated with CMS CMS-3 and moved to the second launch pad at the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota. ISRO has confirmed that final preparations have been completed and the countdown has officially begun. CMS-3, India's heaviest satellite, has launched from home soil, will provide multi-band communication services over India and surrounding oceanic regions. And that's a wrap on the NewsX Primetime.